So, in the super high-stakes world of electric vehicles, something really weird happened this past January. Seemingly out of nowhere, China's biggest automakers, we're talking the titans of the industry, all started making these wild announcements about some revolutionary new tech. It was just this sudden, chaotic scramble. All right, let's dive in and figure out exactly what was going on. And that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Because this wasn't just another boring press release. No, this was a huge wave of panic and ambition all crashing together at once. And the answer is just as surprising as the reaction itself. Turns out, it all came down to one company that, honestly, most people had never even heard of. That's right, Donut Lab. And no, that's not a typo, that's their actual name. This tiny startup from Finland dropped an announcement that was, frankly, a brilliant marketing stunt. They claimed a major breakthrough in solid-state batteries, and in doing so, they basically pressed the big red panic button for the entire Chinese EV ecosystem. And oh boy, what a panic it was. After Donut Lab's announcement in early January, it was like the floodgates just burst open. On January 14th, boom, Dongfeng jumps in. Just 5 days later, Chery makes this massive claim. 2 days after that, Honki's rolling out a prototype. And then just 2 days after that, Geely throws its hat in the ring. This was absolutely not a coincidence. It was a chain reaction, and some of the claims they were making were truly staggering. Yeah, out of all those crazy announcements, this was the number that really got everyone's attention. 1,500 kilometers. Chery didn't just announce a new battery. They promised a car that could go that far. And get this, they claimed it could do it even in the brutal, bone-chilling cold of minus 30 degrees Celsius. I mean, this was a direct shot at solving the single biggest fear for EV owners, range anxiety in the winter. And Chery wasn't alone in making these bold claims. All of a sudden, it was a technological arms race. Chery was boasting an incredible energy density of 600 watt-hours per kilogram. Now, all energy density really means is how much power you can pack into a battery of a certain weight. So a higher number is the holy grail. It means longer range without making the car heavier. Then you had Honki testing a prototype at 380 that could handle insane heat. Dongfeng kept hammering that 1,000-kilometer range number, while Geely said its lab cells were hitting 400. The numbers were just flying, fast and furious. Okay, so what's really interesting is when you lay it all out like this. You can see Chery right there at the top with that massive 600 watt per kilogram claim. But, and this is a really big but, look closely at the timelines. Most of these ambitious goals are targeted for 2026 or 2027, and that's just to begin pilot production or testing. Honki's mass production target is way out in 2030. So you see, these big numbers are more like the finish line they're hoping to cross, not the starting line they're at today. Which, of course, brings us to the most important question of all. Are we actually watching a genuine technological revolution unfold in real time? Or is this just a massive, industry-wide overreaction to a clever marketing campaign from a small Finnish company nobody had heard of? It's definitely time for a reality check. And the first dose of that reality check came from inside the industry itself. The CEO of Svolt, another one of China's battery giants, he felt the need to come out and publicly shoot down Donut Lab's claims. And you gotta understand, this wasn't just a company promoting its own tech. This was an attempt to get control of a story that was clearly spiraling out of control. And the skepticism did not stop there. The biggest player of them all, KTL, estimates the tech is still 3 to 5 years away from being truly mature. Then you had experts at the World Power Battery Conference warning everyone that it's nowhere near ready for commercialization. The consensus is crystal clear. Right now, these solid-state batteries are highly unstable. They're basically laboratory products, and getting them even close to being road-ready requires some serious compromises. So what do those compromises look like in the real world? Well, let's take Dongfeng's battery, which is one of the few that's actually being tested out there. The promise is incredible, right? Over 1,000 kilometers of range, great performance in the cold. But the compromise? Well, the energy density is a much more moderate 350 watts per kilogram, which is a long way from Chery's claim. And the charging speed is a slow 1C rate. Now, a 1C rate means it would take a full hour to charge the battery, a whole hour. That's a lot slower than what drivers expect today. Basically, they traded that peak headline-grabbing performance for real-world stability.
So, if we actually look past all the hype, a much more realistic timeline starts to take shape. Based on what the companies themselves are saying, 2026 is when the serious vehicle testing even begins. 2027 is the target for maybe some small batch pilot production. But we are not looking at true, widespread mass production until we get much closer to 2030. This revolution will not be televised tomorrow, folks.
So here it is, the crucial point of this whole thing. It doesn't even matter if Donut Labs battery ever becomes a real product. Their announcement was a massive success. It was the catalyst that forced an entire, fiercely competitive industry to lay all its cards on the table. It completely accelerated the public conversation and pretty much reset everyone's timelines, which just proves that sometimes a single spark is all it takes to ignite a firestorm. Which leaves us with one final thought. What did we just witness here? Was it the start of a genuine technological leap that's going to redefine the electric vehicle? Or was it just a masterclass in how a marketing-fueled frenzy can force innovation out of the labs and into the headlines? Maybe the most important takeaway is that in the race to the future, sometimes the loudest voice gets there first.